Welcome. Welcome everybody on Zoom. Shout out to Taylor Knoll, who just got his 6th transaction, so he's graduated from Reva. So hope you're watching, Taylor. A really record amount of time, so good for you. Okay. Okay, there we are. So we know you guys know this, but we asked for your help in bringing and helping us grow. So we have this incentive. Those that don't know about it, if you give us 3 people that sign up with us, you get 6 months of monthly waived. You get 3 more, total of 6. You get that 6 months of free again. If you get 3 more after that, you get that 125 waived forever. So that's a long time for some people. I'm old. That's right, we are the same age. Caitlin? You can stuck in the front row. All right, so yeah, we asked for your help in recruiting. I mean, who wouldn't want to be here? Let's face it. You're at, especially at Remax, CMAX, we call it. Really? Really? I gotta go. Okay, is everybody familiar with the $1 Million Club? Okay, the $1 Million Club is for those that do $1 million in production the previous month. So those that did $1 million in April. And because we've got so many company-wide, we decided to only important people today. That's of course I'm Folsom. So we have, and looks like Tanya, Mariana, Katie, and Linda. All right, and then we've got Robbie, Tim, and Kristen. And top producer sales, we got a 3-way tie with 4 transactions. Lucy, Donovan, and Mark. 3.6 million. Congratulations to those guys. And oh no, we've got this is company-wide. Top producers of the month. Justin Arnett only did 13 transactions. 6.83 million. Win Lee did 5.6 million. Kevin 5.4. Jim 0.6. Tara 3.7. And our Lucy brought in. Incredible production. Okay, team. We have the Barrage team only did 4 transactions, 8.5 million. How many are on their team? Only like 8 now. They did 24 transactions. The Justin Arnett team did 14 transactions. Megan Price's big team did 10. Brett Freer's team did 9. And we've got the Homology. Who is that?
Alex.
Alex, okay. 8 transactions. Cash and Eklund 5. Chuck 5. And the Cornerstone Home Partners.
Yeah, Andy in the Sacramento office.
Okay, excellent.
A lot of good team production.
Yes. All right, here we go. Market update. What's the market doing? There's some crazy charts coming up here. This one, I call it the dangling Indy. Look at that, 4,800 transactions, pending sales this month or last month. Look at last year, 27. And look at the listing, 6,200 last year, and we're at 27. Yeah. Sales are 2820, now we're 4,000. Just incredible. Yeah, it's amazing stuff. Price per square foot, needless to say, is
$300
crazy.
per foot.
Yeah, we're at $300 a square foot now. Compared to last year this time, 240. Huge increase. Why aren't people selling? People should be selling. You should be out there screaming your lungs off. You can get $300 a foot for your house. Out of state. I love it. Yeah, not so much for the bottom, but for the top line. This is something, again, I've never seen before. That is sales price. And look at that, we're at 103%. Everything is selling more than this price. Incredible, incredible. It's always been 95, 96, 98, maybe a good market. Now we're at 103.
Been like that. It's been like that for like 5 months. 6
Yeah,
months.
yeah.
It's been over 100.
That's months of inventory, 0.7, we're up for 0.6. So what's happening? Is the market changing? Okay, this is an interesting slide. The amount of per price, how much people are paying above list price. Look at the 500 to 625 range, about 5% over, average of $26,000 over list price. So it's all across the board. 0 to 300 is only 2,500, mainly because there isn't anything. I love this coming up. This one is prices from last year to this year, 20% increase in 1 year. Incredible. All right, this is the best chart. What should have been and what happened. This. What the market should have done. Oh yeah, by the way, this is all from Ryan Lundquist, Sacramento Appraisal blog. If you don't get his weekly blogs, sign up for it, because his information is always really, really interesting. And Bonnie's going to talk about Ryan Lundquist. So
These are there.
this chart, look at it. Stunning. Should have been what happened. All right, speaking of Bonnie, here she is. Everybody know Bonnie?
Good morning, everybody. I'm so excited to see everybody here. Oh my gosh, feeling how you hear everybody chatter and talking. It's awesome. Great. Feels great. So good to be back in class. So welcome. Is that right? Yes. So Rev Up closed transactions for last month, $9.83 million in sales just from our Rev Up group. So that's impressive.
I think Folsom had 9 closings.
Folsom, yes, Folsom was the top of closings for Rev Up last month. Here's our upcoming classes this week. We did yesterday's. Today's training is closing the sale and creating clients, no matter what it says up there. It does say we're creating clients. We will not be training you how to create clients. We're not creating our clients, we're creating clients for life. Definitely don't want to create them for life. So that's today at 3 o'clock. Tomorrow we'll be talking about goals planning. So feel free, anybody in Rev Up, you can come to your office's Rev Up training, and you can come to any other trainings as well. So you can get all the classes done in a month, which is exciting. And we will be doing only live trainings next month or next week. Starting next week, we will only be doing live. We won't be doing Zoom. So we get to be all in person together all the time. So fun. And of course, we have Ryan Lundquist on May 27th. So please mark your calendar. You do not want to miss this. May 27th, It's at 10 o'clock. That slide said 11. It's actually at 10 o'clock. We will be having some. And as Kevin told you, he puts out amazing information for our benefit, us as agents. He puts out information about the market updates. He does daily blogs. If you don't follow him, go to his blog site, sacramentoappraisalblog.com, or follow him on Facebook. He's just amazing. It's going to be Zoom. Over Zoom. You can all get the benefit.
Yeah, last year when you were in this room, people were down the hallway listening to him. It was packed.
Yeah.
And it was great. Everybody loved it.
Well, he puts out such good energy. He's a great presenter, fantastic presenter. And he brings all the statistics, which, can be boring, but he brings it in such a fun way. So, such a good class. Mark your calendars. Our one-day event. Oh my gosh. It was so great. You guys did an amazing job. You poured out from your heart, your generosity, 4 times as much past our goal. So that was so exciting. So we were able to do 100 summer backpacks for the teens, 50 basketball for their brand new court, and fill the crisis center shelves up with items that they needed for emergency situations. And then on top of it, because people kept giving, we were able to give them a check for $3,500. So we made a huge impact in a short amount of time. We all came together and, as one. We made a difference in a whole bunch of teams. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. So this month's vendor spotlight, we'll be talking about our home warranties with American Home Shield. This is our rep, Culberson, and she can go over everything about home warranties that you need to know. These are super important for your clients. And she also can offer door hangers and flyers for buyers and sellers, each of how it affects them. Of course, we can't do door hangers just yet, but soon we will be able to. And she's your gal that you'll be able to get these from. Christy from yes, from American Home Shield.
Caitlin, if you want that water.
There we go. And now I have the pleasure to introduce you your famous fearless leader. Famous fearless leader. Favorite.
We did
We did.
Before I get started, so for the past 4 or 5 months, we've been doing introducing team members. So many new people, so many new team members. So for some reason, the slide didn't make it, but she's here live in person. So can you please step in and introduce yourself as one of our newest team members?
Nice.
No, you can.
To the ground.
Favorite movie, favorite food, favorite fun fact. Yeah. Okay. That is interesting. Food. Oh, that's a food. Is that a food group? That's it. Good. All right. So, I don't know if I talked a little bit about this, about some issues we're having in this market. Is it hard for buyers to get property? Are they buyers doing crazy stuff to get properties? Do we have Are we still on or?
We're still on. Oh, just.
Oh, wait, are we still good?
Put it over.
Oh, I can fix that. Technical difficulties. All right, we'll get it.
A lot of, people in some offers next day, 5 days from now. What you need to do is get a letter from your seller. That's okay. Upload that in MLS. Seller instruction. That's yeah. Good. That's good.
Know the meaning? This is the most important.
I do, yeah.
All right, keep talking, Kevin.
Well,
This might be a while.
there I was.
Is no longer there.
What, that was in,
Downtown, like 30th Street, 35th Street.
Oh, yes, Center Memorial.
Yeah,
right.
it was maternity and so Memorial. Everybody, all my friends were all born there. My wife was born in the same hospital.
really?
Watched them grow up. Growth in this town. Yes, yes. So my birthday's coming up, so maybe,
Another one, another one.
been a lot of. I don't play the lotto. Probably won't. Yeah, I used to want to. Doing it. What do you have? I was looking at how pathetic they are. That's the most pathetic group of children. I had to try them just, they tasted as bad as they look. Okay. We're back. I think
I don't know what's going on, but
oh, there it is.
That's what Bonnie said, and I didn't believe her. I didn't believe her.
all right, that's okay. Listen, last month I talked about all the issues that we were having in the market, specifically related to complaints, ethics complaints, board complaints, and attorney complaints. So these are just a couple of reminders I think that will help you not be part of one of those complaints because it's really happening. First and foremost, make sure you present all offers to your sellers if you're on the listing side. And if the offer is not accepted, get the seller to sign the rejection and get it back to the other agent. 9 out of the 10 complaints that we're getting is, I don't know if my offer was accepted. No, I don't know if my offer was presented, right? So it's not required that the seller does that, but in this market, it will save you a bunch of phone calls and emails and save us a bunch of phone calls and emails. Just get it signed, rejected, and then there's no question whatsoever. Those are turning into ethics and board complaints. So even if your seller saw everything, once they file the complaint, it has to be investigated. You have to go through the process. We go through the process, etc. If it goes to the DRE, which we have about 3 or 4 of them to the DRE right now, they will audit every one of your files and every one of ours. not a fun process to go through. So any little thing that you can do to make this, and I think the reason people are so anxious to get stuff done, they can't get stuff done, so it's kind of heightened everything. Communicate. 2 complaints last week. I submitted my offer and I haven't heard from the listing agent. I called the listing agent. Listing agent's like, oh, I got 50 offers. And we'll start calling those people back or emailing those people back or responding to them. So just simple communication can solve a lot of issues. Get everything in writing. You're not going to remember what happened today a year from now. You're not going to remember that conversation you had with your buyer or your seller from a year ago. You just won't have it. So if you have a conversation or something's kind of going a little crazy, just email after the phone conversation. Just memorialize the conversation. Hey, thanks for catching up this afternoon. Again, sorry about whatever happened. This is what I said I was going to do, and etc. That way, there's clear communication. They're not going to remember. They're going to remember their version. You're going to remember your version a year later. Disclose. So a buyer puts 50,000 over asking, waives all contingencies. The day they move in, something goes wrong, you're going to assume the seller didn't disclose. And then it's just this downhill snowball effect. Encourage your seller to disclose everything, right? Remember my rule of thumb. If the seller asks themselves, should I disclose? The answer is yes. If you ask yourself when you're doing your admin, should I disclose? Yes. I've never seen a transaction go sideways from over disclosure. But man, have we seen a lot go the other way, right? So make sure you disclose. Does that make sense for everybody? Just quick little things that can make your life and our life much, much easier. And same with your clients, because your clients, if you're on the other side of this, is drug into the process as well. Okay, how many people just wake up in the morning, turn on their phone, and just hope it rings for some business? No one in this room, right? However, a lot of people, that's how they run their business. They just gotta wait to see what happens. They're very reactive in their business. It's not really a great way to run a business, just to be always reacting to things instead of being proactive. So I want to encourage you to not wait for opportunity, but create opportunity. And I so apologize. I had no idea what's going on. Same thing on, I don't know if is it going out on Zoom or is it in? Oh, in the background. So Zoom actually has a better view than. Correct. Oh, okay. Well, you're lucky that it's on Zoom. So this is a great stat. So National Association of Realtors earlier this year said 38% of agents had said, they did a big survey, had said they knew somebody that was list their home. If that's a true fact, which there's no reason for it not to be, that's a lot of homes waiting to go on the market. What's the number one thing we need right now? Yeah, so what can you do as an agent to try to pull some of these people out of the woods, so to speak? You got to have a lot of conversations with a lot of people. You should be doing that anyway. But your sphere of influence today is more important than it's ever been. Extremely important. Have conversations with that sphere of influence in order to create opportunity for you and your clients. I told this story yesterday. So I don't do very many transactions anymore, but I had a referral call me to come list their home. I went out there and met him. He's lived in Sacramento for 40 years. Been an attorney for 30 years. $1.4 million home. He goes, yeah, thanks for coming out. I don't know any agents. You know what I hear from agents all the time? Everybody knows an agent. It's simply not necessarily true. Now, here's my guess. Within his sphere of influence, there's probably a lot of agents, but you know what they haven't done a good job of? Reminding him what they do and interacting with him, having conversations with him. So when that time came, he knew exactly who to call. So he called a mutual friend of ours. He goes, hey, real estate, and that's how I got the referral. But I was shocked, but it didn't surprise me. One of the things that agents seem to not do very well is we're always focused on new business, when oftentimes we have a ton of business just sitting that we already have. We just don't cultivate it. We don't do a good job of that. This place is crazy. Here's a couple of mistakes I just want to point out. Okay. The biggest mistake they make, they don't really understand why they should be in touch with their sphere of influence. The number one reason is referrals. You need to mine your sphere of influence. You all have a huge sphere of influence, whether you believe it or not. I always say, go to your contact list in your phone and just scroll to the bottom and see how many contacts you've had. I bet you have twice as many. You realized every one of those people is a potential referral partner. So kind of going back to the point I just made, never assume that you don't have a sphere. Your sphere is too small. Friends and family don't want to hear about your real estate business. Your acquaintance already have a realtor. My favorite one is like, you know, I don't really want to salesy to my family and friends. And does anybody have their real estate card? You know what it says on there? Salesperson. Like, you're a salesperson. Whether you want to believe it or not, you are a salesperson. And I think providing a service to friends and family isn't being salesy, right? That's not being salesy. You're providing a service. But these are some of the things that we I hear all the time. Man, this is just killing it. So I'm going to show you a stat, one of my favorite stats, in just a second. But your next client will most likely be connected to your last if you're doing a good job, right? We had a team leader from the East Coast come in a few years ago, and he had the most convoluted, complex system you could ever imagine in regards to communicating and contacting here. And then he just stopped right in the middle of it, and he kind of paused for a second. It was John Mulesy. He goes, you know what? The bottom line in this business is you have to have a lot of conversations with a lot of people every day. That's all you do, you'll be successful. A lot of real estate related conversations with a lot of people every single day. That's it. Everything else won't matter. It's very, very simple. It's not very hard. And when you look at your sphere of influence, they should fall into one of two categories. They're either a prospect, they're ready to buy, sell, do some real estate related activity in the next 6 months, or they are a referral partner. One of two people. Everybody that you know or come in contact on a frequent basis falls into one of those two categories. A blank screen. Oh, it was blank. I was a blank screen. A prospect or a referral partner, right? Does that make sense? No?
Yeah.
Are you everybody here?
Yes.
Okay. I know, right?
Falling asleep.
So here's the stat that I think, I've heard this stat before. I'll show it again. 15% of the people that you know, your sphere, will need a real estate related service in the sphere. 15%. Here's the most important one. 100% of the people in your sphere knows somebody that will need your service the next year. 100% of the people you know knows somebody. So earlier I said, why do we stay in touch with our sphere? It's for the referral business. We already know there's a bunch of listings on the sideline. We already know that agents don't do a great job of communicating and keeping in contact with their spheres. Well, you have to do. So if you have 500 people in your sphere, which most people probably have 3 times that, there's 500 potential real estate transactions waiting for you to go out and create that opportunity. They're just sitting back waiting for the phone to ring. And maybe when this attorney house, hear from those friends and family that are realtors, right? But then it's far too late, right? Okay. I'm almost done with this craziness. I always say that your friends, family, colleagues, and sphere want to help and support you. They simply don't know how. And I'll use Kevin in his former career as the world's best donut maker. When Kevin had a donut shop, if you wanted to go support him in his business, go buy donuts from him, right? And you feel good about yourself, unless you ate too many donuts. But you feel good about yourself because you were able to support your friend, right? So in the real estate business, I'm not ready to buy or sell. How do I support my friend who's in real estate? Say it again? Referrals. But you got to teach that to people because they don't know how. They'll say, well, I mean, I just bought a house. I don't know. How can I help them? And I say this especially to newer agents. People around you might not be ready to buy or sell, but 100% of them know somebody. So you got to reach into them and teach them how to refer you. 3 simple steps. Remind them of what you do for a living. Ask for the referral. And then the biggest thing is to refer you. I'm going to apologize in advance if you do this. But if you here's a bunch of my business cards. Then who's going to carry? You think Christine's going to carry around my package of my business cards with her everywhere she goes? No. So you got to teach them how to refer you. There's a lot of different ways. But look, Christina. If I'm picking on Christina, it's been a while since we spoke. You know, our last transaction was great. Whatever the lead-in is, I got a favor to ask. You might not be aware, but the real estate market's a little crazy right now. I'm continuing to grow my business. Could you do me a favor? Could I ask you for some help? Could you think of somebody that you know that might need real estate related service in the next 6 months or so? The answer probably going to be no. I can't think of that off the top of my head. But your response is critical. Don't worry. Would it be okay if I called you back in a couple of weeks? Think about it for the next couple of weeks and see if you can come up with someone. What that does is turns on this reticular activation thing in their brain, real thing, Google it. And now they're gonna, here's an example. You buy a new white Honda Accord and then everywhere you go, you see white Honda Accords everywhere you go. Well, now you're hyper aware of white Honda Accords. So in your mind, you start seeing it everywhere. So if you can make your referral partners hyper aware of how they can help you and what you're looking for, they're gonna come up with names. Then in a couple of weeks, you call that person back. One name. So when they come up with that name, there's one more step. You have to get the information from that referral partner and ask that referral partner to tell that person you will be contacting them, right? So it becomes like this full circle warm referral. Make sense? Simple? Easy way to grow your business. You leave here today, start at A in your phone. Just start going down the list. In 1 week, you'll have a transaction. I guarantee it. That work. I love that. And that kind of goes back to what I said is they want to help you, they just don't know how. So if you share with them how to help, it's perfect. Does this make sense? It's pretty easy, right? It's not rocket science. I like that a lot. Okay, my last slide, I'll be done talking. I just kind of calculated the value of a long-term client, right? And I used some numbers that I cannot believe. I used some numbers that really are kind of low on today's standard, but you sell a home to a client, right? And you make a $10,000 commission. That's great, right? Well, if you've done a good job of keeping later, statistically says that they're going to move. So then you'll have another sale of their house and a purchase of another one. 9 years later, they'll do the same thing again. During that same period of time, if you've done a good job, it's worth 5 referrals. So over the course of about 18 years, that client's worth about $125,000. That's why you stay in contact with your peer. That's why you stay in touch. That's why you ask for referrals. Instead of spending a ton of money on trying to create new business, you spend hardly any money and just maintain the current business that you already have. Yeah, Mark. Oh. Yeah. And maybe referrals lost from those same people. So it's a significant number. So my advice to you is go out and have lots of conversations with lots of people every single day. Business isn't super complicated. You just got to be willing to go do the work, right? All right, my work is done here.
Wow.
Kristen. You're up. Take it from here.
Morning. Good morning. So good to see everybody. We are talking about a couple of things that they have forgotten. New law that came into effect in January is the home hardening. Does everyone know what home hardening disclosure law is? Has to do with being in a fire. So we now have to actually look at the NEC and see if it's in a high or very high fire hazard area. If it is, there's three things that we have to. Yes. Okay. So, if it's located in a high or very high fire zone, if it's a residential property 1 to 4 unit, and if it was built prior to 2010, if it is in a very high fire zone but built in 2015, you don't need it. So there's these criteria that we need to look for when determining if this disclosure is required. Any questions on that? Yes. We can put this in help. It also, if you saw that my prior slide, I don't want to go backwards. I don't want anything to happen, but there's that quick the car. If you go into car, they have that quick guide, and then you type this up, it will show you those requirements. Yes. Or you could take a picture like, yes, these are the requirements.
I think the important thing, first of all, everybody reads the NHD, right?
Yes.
Okay, you should be reading the NHD. If it's in that high fire or severe fire zone, that should be the first trigger.
Yeah. Okay. So we get a lot of really good questions. Like, can I sell a business? Let's say you're selling the residential property, and they have a daycare on site, or in-home facility for elderly or special needs, and they want to sell that book of business along with it. We cannot sell the business. We can only sell the real property. So if they want to sell the business, you can't have anything. No bill of sale, nothing at all. They need to go to a business broker to sell the business portion. You can sell the real estate portion, but we can't sell any business. So I'm hoping that
38% of business opportunity transactions in a lawsuit. 38%.
Yeah, and our E&O insurance doesn't cover us for business at all. The other issue that's been coming up is, can we sell commercial real estate? The first answer is automatic no. You are residential real estate agents. If you want to sell commercial real estate, we've now created an application that will help us know that you are qualified to sell commercial real estate. Commercial real estate is also very different. It also a lot of times ends up in a lawsuit. It has huge liability. There's a different split for commercial So in our ICA, in our policy and procedures, it says you can't do commercial real estate. It also states that if you are qualified, what the splits are. So it's a completely different, we have a completely different commercial DBA that's separate from our just regular Realty One Group Complete. It's Realty One Group Commercial. So we have a completely separate commercial division. And so we need to know that you're qualified. And how do we know that? You know, what classes have you taken? What designations do you have? Do you have access to the internet and the Air Force? We had somebody get into escrow in, not in this office, but in another office. They didn't have access to the air forms. So they were asking the other side, could you please provide these forms? And first of all, that was what triggered us to go, whoa, 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 you're not able to do commercial transactions. Or what's your experience? And so we had to pull in our commercial guy to say, you know, partner up with him so that we felt comfortable that everything was on the up and up. And of course, there were some issues that had come up. Even commercial lease, as easy as those sound, a commercial lease, those often also end up in lawsuits. And there's so much, I mean, Greg can attest to this, when we're leasing one of these buildings.
Yeah, the commercial lease that we just signed in the summer, written by, there's nothing standard about it. It's written by the attorney representing the landlord. So there's just a lot of minefields within a lease like that, and if you don't have the experience, or almost every single real estate or commercial real estate transaction, there's attorneys on both sides that also review documents. So if you're not having an attorney review documents for your client, that's your first level of liability right there. It's the standard in the industry to have an attorney involved to look at the documents. So they can be tricky. The biggest one is the client. You know, if there's a certain amount of TI done internally on a space, that the entire building could be triggered, bring it to all current ADA upgrades. If you don't identify that in the lease, guess who's going to pay for it? Your client. Your client going to be happy. I'll give you an example. Sacramento, when we leased that building, our TI was so high, they had to redo the parking lot. $122,000 to redo the parking lot. We specifically put in our lease that if there was an ADA trigger, that the landlord would be responsible, not the tenant. Really easy example where you can find yourself in world of hurt really, really quick. Can you imagine if you represented a client on that lease and they had got that bill for $120,000? Also good.
Whew, that was deep. Any questions on that? Commercial is anything commercial. It's land, commercial land. It's anything over 4 units. It's warehouses. It's buildings like this. It's leases. So there's so much more to it. A lot of people think, oh, there's not very much paperwork. Yeah, but there's a lot of liability. So we have created a way to make it possible for you to sell commercial. You just have to go through the steps and the work to get there. So we're not saying no, we're saying, hey, we've got a way and we can help you with that. Okay. All right. And then just a reminder, here are the numbers and emails for access to all of your grid. And just a reminder of where to send your commission demands, where to send your referrals. And we've got Christina up there. So there should always be somebody available to answer your questions. Start doing that round robin, but give them a few minutes to answer just in case. Any questions? I really quieted the room. Sorry about that. All right, we have Allison. Good morning.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I'm Allison. I'm your in-house lender in this office. I'd love to see everyone back in here. It's nice to people again. So here's the team. So Realty One, you guys have a designated team assigned to you guys. So Becky, Mark, Randy, and Keith They're going to be out of the Rockland office. I'm going to be your in-house lender in this office. And then Chris and Antonio are going to be in the Sacramento office.
Got that in before it blinked. That was good. That was
Whew.
impressive.
Okay, so monthly playbook. So we have these really cool playbooks. These are for you guys. So I typically just leave them up at the front. If you guys want these, or for people who are not coming into the office, if you want us to mail you guys a copy of these, let us know. We just need to know your guys' address. But there's all kinds of really good information in here because it's one of those things, as Greg was mentioning, social media is so important right now. And so we know we need to be on there posting and making top of mind. But the day that you go to post, you can't think, what should I do? So these books have lots of good ideas. Take a look, pick and choose. You guys don't have to do the exact ones on the designated days, but it's good information just to be top of mind and not just all real estate based. You want to make sure you have a little bit of mix in there as well. So our process truly is unlike anyone else. So we have what's called our 671, where our goal is to underwrite all of our loans in under 6 hours. We do a 7-day process, which means that from the time that you guys get into contract through that 7 days, our goal is to clear all of the contingencies. And then we do a true table fund, meaning a client can sign, fund, and record in the same day. In this market, that's crucial, having that ability, because especially on a lot of rescue loans, which we do a really good job at, it's important that we take those from point A to B as quick as possible and as effectively for everyone. We do a lunch and learn after every single meeting. So depending on which office you are in, it should follow right after. This time you're doing how to find more sellers. So as everyone knows, inventory is super tight right now. So try to give you guys some different ideas of how you can potentially find additional people to help get more offers accepted. So we hope to see you guys there. That will be at 11 o'clock. And jumbo loans. So I feel like not everyone realizes the type of loans that we do. So just like in most lenders, we have the option to do FHA, conventional, VA. Jumbo loans are something that we're seeing a lot right now, just because big banks, no offense, they tend to have longer turn times when it comes to contingency periods, where it's very difficult for people to close loans, in some cases in 30 days. And in this market, it moves quick. So whatever we can do to help your offers get accepted, we want to be a resource. So we have multiple jumbo investors. We're extremely competitive, and we use our local appraisal management company, which I feel we tend to get better appraisals than some other big banks where they use cheaper appraisal services, which sometimes will cause issues when you are getting appraisals. And my favorite, so I know I talked to you guys about this a lot, and I feel like whenever we have our meetings and we're figuring out what to talk to you guys about, VA is the one thing that I always want to talk about, because I feel like there's so much missed information when it comes to VA financing. In reality, it's actually one of the easiest loans to get through the pipeline. And I feel like people have that misconception that appraisals are going to come in low, or there's going to be issues with pest work, or just a plethora of different things. They take longer to close. We actually close most of our VA home loans in under 18 days. So I think that's very important, because they definitely can be very competitive. And it is 100% financing. And the best part is we don't actually require a pest report. We just want to get a form called the NPMA-33 form. Basically, what that form states is if there's any active termites. So it's great. It kind of, expedites our process, so we don't have to kind of get into, in the can of the worms, or whatever that expression is, for underwriting. So. And another thing that we've been seeing a lot recently. So fortunately, we've had a lot of clients that have been well qualified, where they have a lot of money in investment accounts, retirement accounts. However, some people potentially may have got laid off or don't have steady employment right now, maybe COVID based, or maybe just on paper, they don't have what we need to see. We have the ability to actually, if someone has a trust set up, where we can actually use trust income instead of distributions and use that as qualifying income, as long as there is a 3-year continuance. We've actually used this on a few rescue loans in the past few months, where we've been able to keep those on track. So if you guys have questions, or if you guys feel like something maybe isn't going right on a transaction, definitely let us know, because we can definitely take a look and see how we can get those back on track. And at our last meeting, I don't know, our beautiful check. So we've kind of talked about, how can we give back to our local community? So we feel that We've been very fortunate, a lot of us, where, real estate is doing really big things, where a lot of us, have been cruising through the past couple of years. Unfortunately, that's not the case for a lot of small businesses, and local charities may be seeing kind of, where they're not seeing what they typically used to. So we want to make sure that we are not just giving back on a grand scheme, which movement does a lot of charity work, but we want to get back to our local markets. So for people who are partnering with us, if there is a charity that's close to you guys and you guys want to potentially look to, partner with them or to, donate some of your money for your commissions, talk with us, because again, we do feel that giving back locally is something that's very important. We'd love to take a look and see how we can match you guys on that as well. So a lot of information. I really appreciate everyone being here today. And if you guys have questions, our office is up front. Feel free to call, email any of us Movement Fellows.
Have an awesome day. Well, thank you guys for showing up today. We got a good group. Hopefully next month we'll have twice as many. 3 times. But anyway, thanks for coming. Go out there and sell a bunch of houses.